Hey, this is Mark Divine with The Mark Divine Show. Super stoked to have you here. Thanks for joining me today. On this show, I love to cover topics that fascinate me, to include vertical development, whole person training, peak performance, optimizing flow state, longevity, improving health span and lifespan, AI and cultural changes, mental toughness, those types of things. So if those sound interesting to you, then you're in the right place. Now, I'm currently doing a lot of solo teaching because I love to teach. And we're shifting to an in-person recording studio for guests. So fewer guests, more me. So hopefully that's okay for you. And if not, you're welcome to move on. But if you like it, then please share this show with your friends and share these teachings with others. Because I think they're very useful. Today, I'm going to talk about something that's really personal, and that's a pretty serious mishap I recently had, and I'll kind of go through it, and some of the ramifications and what I'm learning from it, and kind of the healing process. And I've shared this with my my inner circle community. So we have a community app, and they've seen pictures and everything, and it's pretty interesting, pretty gnarly. So, anyways, recently I was on a snowmobile trip. Now, backing up a little bit, I finished my PhD in global leadership and change in December. That was close to a 5-year slog. Every single weekend was, pounding the keyboard and doing research. I didn't really have a lot of time to do anything for me personally. Now, I don't have a lot of needs. I don't, I was in the SEALs for 20 years. Like, I don't need adventure really, a little bit, but I miss it a little bit, of course. I don't have a need for speed or extreme sports or to prove myself to anybody. But after getting done with this, I got contacted by someone who I use the friend word with a small f. Good guy, really good guy. I've only known him for a few years. He's not like a college fraternity brother type friend. But I really respect this guy, and he's really into snowmobiling, and for several years, he's been inviting me to go to Canada on this snowmobile trip with him. And so this year, in January, when I thought about that, or whenever, I was like, well, I'm done with my PhD, and I don't really have a good excuse not to. And it does sound kind of interesting. So I said yes. So 2 days of travel, right, to get from San Diego to Montreal, then from Montreal up to Northern Quebec in first week of February, and it's 20 below zero, and wow. And then we get all of our gear. Once it gets situated, get all of our gear, and I rent this snowmobile, and I'm like, holy cow, this is like crazy. I had no idea the advanced state. I mean, my ignorance is my own issue, but like these snowmobiles, for those of you who know what I'm talking about, they're crazy. Freaking 100-mile-an-hour sleds. The state of the technology is a little bit different than the 1974 Ski-Doo my dad had, which went like 20 miles an hour and was always breaking down. And then the other thing which I noticed pretty quickly is the location was well known for snowmobiling. It has like thousands of miles of groomed trails, or I don't know if thousand, but probably thousands of miles of groomed trails, all owned and operated, or operated, I should say, probably not owned by these clubs. And the way it was described to me was that, think about hut skiing, where you ski like in the Alps and you go to these different places and you can stay there, and then you go to another place and you stay there. That's what I thought we were going to do. I thought we were going to have like a really cool nature experience with snowmobiles, and we're going to go to these different clubs, and it's going to be like a fireplace with kind of really rich setting, and we're going to have drinks and eat some dinner and get a good night's sleep, and then get up the next day and ride a couple 100 miles to the next club. Well, it wasn't that. Right. So 4 hours into the first day, and I'm just barely able to hold on to this sled going, 80 miles an hour, ripping across the tundras. And there's four of us, and the host was in the lead. And I was jockey. I ended up getting put in the second position, and I could barely see the guy in front of me. I could barely see the host. Like, he's flying. And so I'm flying to try to keep up because I don't know these trails. You can see what disaster is awaiting me, right? I don't know these trails at all. And I don't want to get lost in the Canadian wilderness. That wouldn't be good. Even though that was probably irrational fear, because I did have my phone and, whatever. What's the worst that's going to happen? So anyways, 4 hours into this 4-day trip, we kind of get funneled into this wooded area, and it's like really turny and twisty. And it's really this part is kind of fun. This is like more performance driving. And obviously we're not going 80 now, but still going like 40 miles an hour. And I still am barely, like every other turn, I catch a wisp of snow from the guy. And so I'm trying to keep up, which means I'm going too fast for my skill level, admittedly, since I hadn't been on a snowmobile since like 19, whatever, 75 maybe. And suddenly I go around this corner and I was really in my head, right? So this is kind of lesson number one. Like I wasn't present because I was worried about getting lost. And I was kind of ticked that the guy was going so fast. And so I had some mental processing that kept me out of being like super present. I come around this corner and another snowmobile is coming right at me in my lane. And then now we're like narrow. So this is like a 2-lane highway for snowmobiles. And he's in my lane because he's taken the turn wide and he probably didn't think he'd see another snowmobile. And this guy just literally did nothing. He must have been in shock, just like I was. And I was barreling and looking at a head-on collision. And my thought at that moment was like, that's not a good idea. So my instincts were to get out of the way. And so I veered to the right. And my snowmobile kind of hit a little bit of a ditch and came to a complete stop. Well, guess what? The law of energy, right? So what's in motion is going to stay in motion until it gets, stopped by a more firm energy that's pushing back against it. Well, the snowmobile stopped, but my body didn't. My body's goes flying off the snowmobile and heading toward a tree, right, which is about 10 feet away. And I see all this happening. And so this is where my training kicks in because I'm seeing this in real time, slow time. And the thought that goes through my head, which is really not very spiritual, I didn't see my life flash before my eyes. I just said to myself, oh, shit, this is happening, right? Oh, fuck. Like, no. And I do remember thinking, this is not my day to die. Just, oh, shit, this isn't going to go well. And in the time between the time that I left the snowmobile, traveling 40 miles an hour, and hit the tree, my instincts kicked in. And there's two theories here, and one of them is kind of metaphysical, obviously. The first theory is my lifetime of martial arts and somatic training and Navy SEAL training kicked in, and I did essentially what would be like a parachute landing or PLF or like a karate or Aikido roll where I rolled forward and to the right to avoid hitting my head. And I took the blow on my upper back, shoulder blade, scapula, ribs. Saved my life. Now, the other scenario, which is plausible, is that, because this is the non-dualistic, non-linear thinking, that my guardian angels pressed pause, reoriented my body, pressed start again, and I hit the tree. That's kind of a fun thing to think about, but I'm open to that possibility. Running a digital business has been a super interesting journey. I've had to learn everything from SEO, site optimization, paid search, and don't get me started on hosting headaches. Slow speed, confusing dashboards, constantly changing technology, downtimes. I've been through all that. That's why I was stoked to find Kinsta, which is a game changer. If you're probably like me, tech isn't necessarily your thing. So Kinsta helps make it easy for you. Their managed WordPress hosting is exactly what you should look at. They handle everything from lightning fast speeds that'll impress your visitors to enterprise level security that gives you total peace of mind. They've got a great dashboard. It's so intuitive, it makes other hosting platforms feel like they're stuck in 2005. And here's the best part. When you need them, you actually get a real human to talk to. WordPress experts, 24/7. No bots, no scripts. People who actually know what they're doing. That is a game changer for me, especially when something happens, like you get a traffic spike or your site goes down. Kinsta doesn't just host your site. They make it thrive. They've got 37 global data centers, free migrations, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. So switching has never been easier. So why wait? Check them out now. Visit kinsta.com/Mark. That's KINSTA.com/Mark. Visit them today to get your first month for free and experience hosting that actually works.
Momentous is more than just a supplement brand. It's a commitment to performance for life. My journey with the supplement that Momentous produced began when I was searching for one brand that I could trust, one that prioritized quality and transparency and results, and Momentous stood out to me right away. What makes them unique? Well, it's their relentless pursuit of excellence, something I can get behind. Every product meets what they call the Momentous standard, which is rigorous testing, backed by science and crafted with the highest quality ingredients. They don't use any artificial flavors or sweeteners, just pure, effective nutrition. Momentous cares about what goes into their products, and I care about what goes into my body. Every batch is NSF certified for sport or informed sport, meaning it's third-party tested for purity, label accuracy, and any banned substances. That level of trust is unparalleled. These products are critical to my daily routine. They're developed alongside leading experts like Dr. Stacy Sims and Dr. Andrew Huberman, who's a friend of mine. And the supplements are trusted by over 200 pro sports and collegiate teams, including 32 NFL teams. So what are you waiting for? Go to livemomentous.com, use the code DIVINE to get 35% off your first subscription. Again, that's livemomentous, livemomentous.com. Use the code DIVINE, DIVINE, and get 35% off your first subscription. Hoo-yah, Momentous.
So I hit the tree, my smack into my back, and I'm laying in the snow. And it's quiet and peaceful. I remember looking up and being like, this is absolutely beautiful. It's quiet. And right away, I knew two things. One is I was alive, right? I could tell if I wasn't dead. And two, that my brain was fine. I could tell right away that there was no confusion. There was no muddiness. I was totally clear. And that was amazing. And so because I had those faculties, I immediately checked my extremities. So I was able to move my fingers and my toes and my legs and my arms. And and I just had this wave of gratitude, like, holy shit. Like, thank God. Thank you. Right? Like, I'm alive and I didn't, concuss myself and I didn't paralyze myself. Now, I knew I probably had an issue with my shoulder. I initially thought maybe I just separated or dislocated it, which has never happened before to me. So I really didn't understand the pain level. But when I tried to stand up, then it became pretty clear that, oh, maybe I did some serious damage. So at any rate, I'll try to speed the story up because I don't want to go forever here. But the third snowmobile came up and saw my sled and knew something was wrong, and he found me, right? And he helped me get up. But that's when I was like, oh, wow, there's some serious damage being done. That was done here. Still didn't know what it was, how bad, but I tried to get on the snowmobile. I couldn't lift my arm. And you can't drive a snowmobile with one arm, left arm, right? And so we left the snowmobile there. And I rode painfully on the back of one of the guy's sleds for 45 minutes out till we came to a location where we could convince a Quebecian, none of whom speak English, pridefully, by the way. So we're like pantomiming and finally got someone to call an ambulance who came and took me to a Canadian local hospital. So 9 hours later, I finally get an MRI. Like now I'm pacing back and forth. I'm box breathing. I'm really good at pain management, and I'm really good at projecting no suffering. That's part of our training, right? As a SEAL, Navy SEALs, and what we teach a SEAL fit. Suffer in silence. I didn't show any pain. I asked for some pain meds. They gave me a couple Tylenol. It's like, well, it's better than nothing, but it didn't do a whole lot. Now, finally, they get me in for an MRI and an X-ray 9 hours later. And, simply like within minutes of viewing those, the doctor came running out. He's like, holy shit. He's like, you're not going anywhere. We need to get you into bed and get some pain meds in you, and we'll figure out what to do. And we can't do the surgery here, but you have 18, your scapula or shoulder blade is broken in 18 places, and you have 8 broken ribs, and you punctured your lungs. And I'm like, okay, that's a doozy. Now can I have some pain meds? So I was only in the hospital there for 24 hours because they couldn't do any surgery. They said, we want to get me to another Canadian hospital. I said, no, I'm going to go back to the United States. Well, because of my pneumothorax, the punctured lung, I couldn't fly. It's too dangerous. And there was a major snowstorm. And my wife at this time now had flown out to Quebec City, where a friend was that was able to meet her. And they decided, and I agreed with them, that it was too risky to drive. You don't take a Southern California girl and put her in the middle of a snowstorm in Canada, right? Driving a very injured individual. So that didn't make sense. So we were left with the train option. So we booked a train from Quebec City all the way to San Diego. And it took us 2 days, right, to get to Chicago, where we were going to change to a sleeper car. And then from, as I got off the platform in Chicago, all of a sudden, I think I re-punctured my lung and I just stopped. My whole body stopped. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't walk. I was in extreme pain. And the immediate thought entered my head, this is where I'm staying. This is where the work needs to be done. We found some first responders, said, can you take us to the best orthopedic hospital in town? And they said, yes, it's Rush Hospital. So I ended up at Rush Hospital in Chicago. Friday afternoon, emergency room. The doctors looked at me like, holy shit, yeah, this needs surgery ASAP. Earliest we can do it is Monday. The doctor named Xavier Simcock agreed to do it. I met the doctor. He said, listen, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is a doozy, but I love challenges. And I'm a fixer. I love fixing things. And Xavier was a Columbia undergrad, Harvard med New Zealander, and he had a great attitude. And I was like, you're my guy. So Monday surgery, this is the 10th of February. And doctor calls me the next day and tells me that he's proud of his work, that it was difficult. I lost a lot of blood, but he thinks it's going to heal. Potential for full recovery. And that I was okay to leave when I felt fit. And so that was Monday. We were able to fly home on Thursday because my lungs had healed. So I find myself back in San Diego now, almost a week and a half after this accident. So that's really the worst of it. Now, recovery and lessons. The doctor said 6 weeks, don't do anything for 6 weeks. It's really hard for an active person like me to do that. So I look at that and I say, okay, how do you define anything? And what they really mean is don't do anything with the arm or anything that's going to create instability, right? And so I can, because of my training and intuition, I can really sense like, oh yeah, that movement or that, even walking was challenging at first. I go walk a few hundred yards, but I had to really stabilize my arm and be very, very careful. But the walking has gotten better every day. And then I could sense maybe, a week and a half after surgery or 2 weeks after surgery that I could start doing something, but not with my arm. So I would pin my arm really close to my chest and I started doing squats. Started with 100 squats. I added 20 a day and then I stopped at 300. So ever since maybe the last 3 weeks, I've been doing 300 squats a day. And then I'm like, okay, what about the bike, stationary bike? I can do a Peloton. So I added the Peloton and squats. And then what about yoga? Well, yoga is kind of tricky because you need both arms typically in yoga. But what about, can I do yoga with just one arm? And I found out I can actually do it quite a bit with one arm. And so I added yoga back in. What else can I do for healing? What about peptides? Like research is really not, solid on peptides because they're so new. But anecdotally, I can tell you what, I've got a lot of friends who swear by them. So I got some peptides and I've been using peptides locally and also systemically, where you inject it into your belly for about 2 weeks now. And I just have faith that they're helping out. Stem cells. I haven't done stem cell therapy yet, but I'm looking into that and I think that's coming probably when I'm a little bit further along. Therapy itself, I'm doing some self-therapy, really just like hanging my arm and doing, drawing circles on the floor and, working on moving it up, down. Like what you see right now, if you're watching this, is of dramatic improvement. I'm able to lift my elbow away from my hips and lift my arm forward. But it's about as high as I can get it. It's terrifying for me to think that I wouldn't be able to gain full mobility, but I quickly surrender to that as fear. And I know it's just not true because the human body has this incredible capacity to heal when you believe in it and you actually actively work on healing. So aside from those other things I talked about, which are going to be like general therapy, keeping your body healthy, right? So this is now translating here to like general principles for you. I've always said, if you have an injury, work around it. Don't do anything to aggravate the injury. right? It's the difference between integrating pain and disintegrating pain. Just be very careful and work with an expert. What can you do and what shouldn't you do? And experts are, mind you, they're always going to veer on the sides of extreme caution, rightfully so, and also to protect their own asses, liability-wise. So take it with a grain of salt. When I broke my wrist, I was rowing the next day, but I was rowing with one arm, and I was doing all sorts of things because I could just immobilize my wrist. Same thing with my shoulder, right? So unless you have a spinal injury or something that's really covers all motor functions, you can always do something. And that is good for your motivation. It's good for your mindset and your attitude. It's good for your blood flow and prana, life force, and it's going to accelerate your healing. But you just make sure that you can do those things without injuring yourself further. And secondly is, as you progress, and I'll speak this, as I progress, I've got to be careful not to overdo it, because even though I can do those things, I'm going to want to go faster than I should. And I've had, people tell me this several times over, like, don't rush it, because if you re-injure it, right, that can set you back dramatically. So go slow, be patient. So patience is one of the best healing advices. Like, the human body will heal itself with time and with your support, right? It'll heal itself faster if you believe in the healing power of your body, if you visualize the healing, and I'll talk more about that in a second. If you do things like peptides and stem cells and exercise in a way that is prudent, right? As I'm discussing, like, I can do tons of stuff with my core and my body, my lower body, but I just can't do anything really with my upper body or my right side of my body. Let me talk about visualization. I think, the power of visualization is extraordinary, right? We create our entire world as a mental projection, right? So the power of the mind to project and to live a creation that is our creation. That's what the human experience is. So if we create an internal world where we can visualize a healing team, like the team being your immune system, your bones and your connective tissues coming back together. And I like to do this, like visualizing them as a construction crew, even down to wearing, orange vests and hard hats. And so I visualize this construction crew fast at work, like rebuilding my scapula. And now after the surgery, there's a bunch of metal in there. Fine. We're going to take that metal and we're going to turn this scapula into like a titanium plate. And also the ribs are going to be like titanium. They're going to be stronger. Just like a lot of times, like if you put a broken piece of porcelain back together, it's actually stronger and more beautiful because it's got some imperfections in it. So I'm looking at my ribs that way. Like, they're going to show some imperfections, but actually it's going to be stronger that way. And of course, healing my lungs and all that, all the soft tissue, the team is going to town to heal all that. And so I visualize that several times a day, right, for 5 minutes or more. And from my past experiences, this can greatly accelerate your healing timeline. I've made the claim that it'll speed up double the healing speed, right? Or said another way, it'll take you half the time to heal that it would ordinarily if you didn't do this.
Are you ready to revolutionize your hiring process? Don't search for employees, match with Indeed. Indeed's driven by the search for better. And when it comes to hiring, Indeed is your ultimate solution. Why Indeed? Well, Indeed's the premier matching and hiring platform, boasting over 350 million global monthly visitors. Their advanced matching engine helps you find top quality candidates fast, eliminating the need for tedious searching. Streamline your hiring process with Indeed. Say goodbye to busy work. Indeed offers seamless scheduling, screening, and messaging features, allowing you to connect with candidates faster than ever before. An impressive 93% of employers agree that Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites. We've got over 140 million qualifications and preferences analyzed daily, with a matching engine that continuously learns and improves, tailoring results to your specific needs. So join the ranks of more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that trust Indeed to hire greater talent quickly. In fact, during this short ad, approximately 23 hires were made on Indeed globally. There's an exciting opportunity for you.
Get a $75 sponsored job credit to boost your job visibility. Simply visit Indeed.com/divine to claim the special offer and support the Mark Divine Show. Remember, when it comes to hiring, don't search. Match instead with Indeed. Visit Indeed.com, INDEED.com/divine, DIVINE, right now. Terms and conditions do apply. You need to hire? Then you need Indeed.
So anytime you have an injury or a major crisis like this, don't waste it, right? Use it to develop your skills. Use it to develop your visualization skills. Use it to reflect upon how you can turn the situation into an advantage, right? So for me, that was like, why did this happen? Well, sometimes you can ascribe a reason, and usually it's kind of bullshit. But it might make you feel better to say, oh, it happened because of this or because of that. For me, I said earlier, well, I was kind of distracted, and I've had a lot going on in my life, and I was actually talking to my wife about a need for a sabbatical or, taking a break. And I was laughing with my producer, John. I needed a break. I just didn't need 18 of them. So I could ascribe some reason, but I don't know if that's really true or not. Don't worry so much about finding a reason, but don't miss the opportunity to learn and grow from it. That's really the important thing. Reasons are really about the past. It doesn't matter. But learning and growing, that's the important thing. So anything that happens to you, no matter how screwed up the crisis is, and actually the bigger the crisis, the bigger the opportunity. So for me, the opportunity that I don't want to squander is this opportunity to really, really slow down, make sure that I don't get caught in my head like I did on that snowmobile trip, and remain really present. So my spiritual practice, my mindfulness, very important. It already was important, but now I'm like, oh yeah, it's like the center post, right? There's nothing more important than that, than finding your center and maintaining present moment awareness and witnessing mindset where you can operate spontaneously and with effortless perfection, shibumi. So that's the opportunity here, to really, really slow down and pay attention to what's extremely important. Also, my family, my wife, right? The loving and healing energy that she brought me and brings me was extraordinary. And, I think I sometimes take that stuff for granted. So that was an opportunity not to be wasted. All in all, I will have 100% recovery. I will be stronger. I'll have a titanium strong scapula and ribs, and I'll be able to continue doing 20 dead hang pull-ups and thousands of burpees. It'll probably take me 9 months to get there, between 6 and 9 months. And I'll use the time wisely in between. I hope this was interesting and helpful. There's so much to learn. And I've said, a lot of people with Unbeatable Mind, we also use it for veterans who are healing. So the training of integration, physically, mentally, emotionally, intuitionally, and spiritually, using all these skills and tools that I talk about here on the show, they are awesome for going from good to great or great to enlightened, but they're equally valuable when you get kicked in the nuts or when you really have a problem like post-traumatic stress or you run into a tree at 40 miles an hour. And that's when these tools become even more precious. Pause, breathe, think, slow down, visualize, maintain a positive mindset, feed the courage wolf, right? And learn how to bring energy into the body and expel negativity and things that you don't want, that don't serve you. And to accept your life as it is, while also striving for something better. So on that note, thanks for listening. This is Mark Divine, The Mark Divine Show. Show notes will be up at markdivine.com. Video will be on our YouTube channel. Just search for it there. You can find me on social media, Mark Divine PhD, Mark Divine Leadership. I don't know, we just recently changed it. Our ratings and reviews are incredibly helpful, so please rate and review wherever you listen, Apple, Spotify. That's very helpful. Helps us stay relevant and keeps me motivated. So thanks for doing that. Thanks to my incredible team, John Dogram, Jet Studios, and Catherine Devine, who helped produce the show, and my newsletter, which comes out every week, called Divine Inspiration. Go to markdivine.com to subscribe if you're not. So thanks to them. Couldn't do it without them. And thanks to you for listening and for sharing this with your friends and for being part of the change that you want to see in the world We can do that at scale with technology like this. So thanks for being part of the solution and not the problem in the world. Till next time, this is your host, Mark Devine. Hoo-yah.